Hello, my name is Becca and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you my June and July book haul. I was just gonna leave it because I've only bought I think 4 books this month and I bought a lot last month, so I was just gonna do a full summer book haul, but it's getting a little bit out of hand, so I needed to do one now. First of all, we'll just do some stats. I bought 18 books in the months of June and July. 15 of them I bought secondhand and 3 of them were new, and I have 17 fiction books and 1 travel guide. So first of all, let's just get the travel guide out of the way. From Akabu, I bought the Lonely Planet Guide to Rome. I'm thinking about interrailing around Italy next year, so I thought this would come in handy. It was only £1 and it is the 2016 edition. For the rest of the books, I'm going to go from order of when I bought them. So the oldest ones first and then the newest ones last. And so let's just get into it. The first book that I bought from Waterstones. It was a new release and it is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Dark Artifices series. I still haven't read Lady Midnight, but I bought this anyway because it's got the blue sprayed pages and I don't know when they stopped printing this edition and it matches the Lady Midnight I've got, so I thought I would buy it now. The Dark Artifices is the 3rd series by Cassandra Clare in the sort of Shadowhunters collection. It follows the Carstairs and Blackthorn children that were introduced in the last book of the Mortal Instruments. That is all I really know about it because, like I said, I haven't read Lady Midnight, but eventually I will get round to these. The second book that I bought from a charity shop in York, and that is Gracelyn by Kristen Kershaw. This is, I'm not sure whether it's a standalone or whether it's part of a series, but it is about a young girl in a world where people have graces, or they are called graces, and they have special abilities, and everybody has one grace, or each of the graces have one grace, and the main character, whose name is Katza, has the grace of killing. The second book that I bought was also from a charity shop in York, and that is Uprooted by Naomi Novak. I'm not too sure what the main storyline of this is, but I know that it has a very fairy tale, old school feel to it, and I believe it's very magical with dragons and wizards and things like that, and I'm really excited to get into it. I'm upset because my friend managed to get the hardback from a charity shop, but the paperback is just as pretty, and I think it only cost £1. The next 7 books that I've got are all from charity shops in Bridlington, and the first one is The Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. Now, all I really know about this is that it's a thriller. I think the yellow spine and the yellow back page is what really drew me into it. I believe it is about a girl when she was at a private school or a boarding school and something happened to her, and now she's much older but somebody wants her to tell them what happened, and I suppose it is about her reliving this sort of past moment or past incident that she's suppressed. The next book is a classic and it is Icy Fur by William Makepeace Thackeray. I mainly bought this because I am trying to collect the Penguin English Library covers, but obviously there's a lot of them and I think at full price they're £6 each, so whenever I see one second hand I always pick it up. I don't know too much about Vanity Fair apart from that it is huge. I believe it's about politics and society and all sorts of things like that. I don't even think I've seen the film of it, but I am trying to read more classics, whatever they are, just so that I have a wider concept and understanding of literature. So I am excited to get to this at some point. Next we have The Library by Frances Hardinge. This I picked up, I think it was £2 at a charity shop, and I don't know anything about it and I didn't want to bought it. I did look it up a little bit. It is about a girl and her father dies, and while she's going through his things she finds some clues that point towards a tree, and as the title says, I believe it's about the tree. Why it is called the Lie Tree, I don't know, but I believe it's a mysterious thing. Whether it's anything much to do with the tree or the location that it's in or what, I have no idea, but this was really cheap and I thought I'd give it a try. Next up we have Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, which, as the sticker says, I paid £2 for. This is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I'm not sure if that is what the series is actually called. I've been wanting to read these for a long time. I picked up the first book second hand as well, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. They do sound really interesting, and I know that everybody loves Strange the Dreamer now, so I am really interested in seeing what Laini Taylor has to offer. As for what the series is about, I'm not entirely sure right now, I've forgotten, but I'm sure a lot of you already know because this is a very popular series. Next we have Number 9 Dream by David Mitchell. I picked this up because I'm interested in sort of, I think that David Mitchell specialises in magical realism and that sort of thing where we have unexplained circumstances in real life. I also have Cloud Atlas by him that I haven't read yet, and there is another book in my haul also by David Mitchell. This one I'm particularly interested in because it sounds a lot like The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami, and I loved that book and the weird sort of journey it takes you on where things aren't really explained. And when I read the blurb of this, it brought back a lot of those feelings that I felt when I was reading The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. So I wonder if David Mitchell has taken any inspiration from Haruki Murakami or whether it is just a coincidence. Number 9 Dream in particular is about a boy who goes to Tokyo from somewhere, I think he lives somewhere remote in Japan, and he's looking for the father that he's never met. And I believe it follows his journey while he's looking for his father, strange encounters that happen along the way, and his general feelings and happenings to him in this time of his life. Next we have The Versions of Us by Laura Barnett, which is an adult contemporary fiction. I did actually read this month, and I will be mentioning it in my July wrap-up. This follows two people named Jim and Eva, and it starts in 1958 and it ends in 2014, so it follows them throughout that large period of time. It's called The Versions of Us because it follows parallel universes, so you have 3 versions throughout the story. You have the first one where our 2 main characters meet because she falls off a bike. The second one, she doesn't fall off a bike and they never meet at all. And in the third one, she does fall off a bike, but other circumstances alter the course from the first version. It's really interesting. I love the parallel versions concept. It really is worth a read, but it is just a contemporary adult fiction, so you've sort of got the same vibes in there that you do with other books from that genre. It is a lot like One Day as well, which is one of my favourite books, which is another reason that I really wanted to read it. The last book from my Bridlington book haul is All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. I saw this in Waterstones and I really wanted to read it, but I didn't buy it, and then I found it in a charity shop last month. It is an adult fantasy, and it is about a woman who is a witch. I think she communicates with animals, and a man who is an inventor. And I believe that as teenagers they know each other, but they grow apart because they're on very different paths. And then later in the future they're both trying to save the world. The woman is trying to save it through witchcraft and the man is trying to save it through science. And I believe that their worlds collide, and it is a story about the 2 different paths that they're taking to the same end point, and also it is about, I suppose, why the world needs saving. The next 4 books I'm going to be talking about were from charity shops in Beverley. The first one is An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. I have heard this be referred to as the worst John Green book, but regardless I still like to read it so that I can read all of his books. I believe it is about a guy who, his girlfriends are always called Catherine, and he's been dumped by a number of Katherines, and he goes on a road trip with his best friend to try and find out the theory behind why all these girls keep dumping him, so that people who have been dumped in the past and other people looking for love can work out how not to be dumped and find the perfect girl. I also believe it has a lot of maths in it, and I believe he likes anagrams, so I don't know if that will play a part in it, but it shouldn't take me long to read. If I don't like it, it won't be such a big drain on my time, hopefully, so I'm excited to read this one too. The next one is another David Mitchell book, and it is called The 1000 Autumns of Jacob de Zoet. I don't know too much about this one at all, even from the blurb I can't really gather what it's about, but I believe it's about a town in Japan that's regarded as the gateway to the West, and a Dutch, is he a poet? Oh no, he's a Dutch clerk goes to this place to make his fortune, and it says that instead he loses his heart. What that means I don't know. I believe there's a lot of spies and maybe politics in it as well, and like I said, I'd like to read some David Mitchell, so I thought while I can pick them up cheap, I may as well get them. Next we have a book that on BookTube has also widely been reviewed as being quite disappointing, and that is Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I don't know too much about this one either. Aside from that, it is about a girl, and I believe she likes music, and there's somebody called the Goblin King who exists, and I think he's like a legend or a myth, and then when she's a little bit older he kidnaps her sister and she has to travel to the underground to save her. It's fantasy, so it's what I'm into. Some people have said it's quite slow, some people have said that the story isn't quite there, but I would still like to read it for myself. Next we have the book from my haul that I'm most excited to read, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, so I'm so happy that I could pick it up at a charity shop. I've heard a lot about this on BookTube, and I can't actually remember what it's about. It's about a guy called Kavoth. I think he's an assassin, but I could be wrong. I think he's quite a notorious character, and I'm really excited about this because I'm wanting to get into more adult fantasy, and this has been considered as one of the series that is sort of like a gateway to adult fantasy, so people who read a lot of young adult will like this. It's not too much or too heavy to process, and I'm really excited to read it because I feel like adult fantasy and high fantasy is the genre that I'm heading towards in my reading habits, but it's just knowing what kind of books to read to get me to the sort of the hard high fantasy books. The next book I picked up at a car boot, and it is Nerve by Gian Ryan. It cost me a whole 50p. There is a film that has been adapted from this book, which is what first caught my interest. I believe it's about an online game where people complete dares to win prizes, and a girl joins the game to win the prizes, and as she's completing the dares they get worse and worse and worse, and she's wondering whether she should have started to play in the first place. The next two books were buy one get one half price at Waterstones, and they are both books that I really want to read, and I was excited to be able to get them on an offer because a lot of the time at Waterstones the books that I want aren't on offer, and it did take me quite a while to pick these, but I settled on This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab, and I believe it is about a girl called Kate and a guy called August who are heirs to a city, and there are a lot of monsters in the city. They both want different paths in life. One of them wants to be ruthless and fearless, and the other one wants to be more human and compassionate. And I believe that this is one of the V.E. Schwab books. I'm not sure if it's all of her books that have this theme, but the characters are morally grey, like neither are right or wrong. They make their decisions for good reasons. It doesn't make them bad people or good people. It's a little muddy, and I'm excited to read about that concept in a book because I'm not sure that I have before, and I think it would be really interesting. And the last book in my June and July book haul is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I'm so excited to read this. I'm sad that it's not the US edition, but I do think that the UK edition is also quite pretty, and the God's Grave one looks really good with the bear on instead of the crow. As for what it's about, I'm not entirely sure. I just believe it's about a girl who's an assassin, and she goes to a school for assassins, and she essentially goes there to train because I think she wants revenge for something, so that's why she ends up at the assassin school being trained to exact her revenge. So that's everything for my June and July book haul. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have read any of these books or you would like to read any of them, please leave a comment below telling me whether they're good, whether they're worth a read, maybe some of your thoughts without spoilers. If you like this video, if you'd like to give it a big thumbs up around here somewhere, and subscribe to my channel for more. Bye!